Hey everyone, it is Monday, September 12th. The time is 1:08 p.m. and I'm standing here at College Park. There is the fabulous Aura building. And I'm here with the Ken Continuum, but of course you know that as this is his channel. And for this one, we're going to go for a walk around the campus of the school formerly known as Ryerson.
That's right.
Ken fill you in on the details of the plans for this one.
That's right. It's the first day of classes at Ryerson today, or Ryerson, Toronto Metropolitan University. This is going to be
already been canceled.
This is going to be a thing that I'm going to be struggling with throughout this walk, I think. So it's bound to be very busy on campus. So I thought I'd take us on a little walk through most of the major streets and pathways at Toronto Metropolitan University. Let's just call it TMU to keep things short and simple. So we're at College Park here, as we mentioned, and we're going to head down to Yonge Street. And then I'll enter the campus off of Gerrard St East. And
so this will be our second.
This is our second walk around a major downtown university campus today. We did the University of Toronto campus right before this. And TMU is the second biggest downtown campus after U of T. It has about 47,000 students versus U of T's over 60,000.
I think 67,000 for U of T, something
right.
like that.
That's a huge amount of students at U of T.
It'll be interesting to compare if Ryerson or TMU is busier, because it was pretty busy at St. George
it was
campus.
very busy.
And you can find that video, that should be on my channel by now. Maybe Ken will remember to link that.
I'll definitely put a link to Johnny's video in the description of this video.
And here's a street neither of us have ever recorded before.
What is this street called again? I don't know. Yonge? Is that it? Yonge.
Would you say this is your most recorded street on your channel?
Yeah, I would say it is.
More than Queen, more than Bloor?
Yeah, more than Queen or Bloor, yeah.
I'm assuming that would be 2 and 3 right there.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And we're still kind of in the early afternoon, so we're going to get a lot of lunch hour traffic mixed in with the student traffic, I'm sure. You'll start to notice the students start to take over as soon as we get down to Yonge and Gerrard here. This is the northwestern corner of the campus at Yonge and Gerrard. Or is it the northeastern? Northwestern. Northwestern.
Are you a fan of Concord Sky going up?
I am.
This big 85-story tower?
I am a fan. I'm not a fan of the loss of Big Slice Pizza, though. I used to go there quite regularly.
I'm not a fan of the loss of the Elephant Castle here.
Yeah, for another cannabis store. Not a fan of that at all.
Well, the reckoning is coming, I imagine.
Yeah. Up to 1/3, I read, of these shops might be closing down.
Like, I'm a fan of them. I just don't think we need them on every other block.
No. One per block is plenty.
We'll see what the market can bear.
And you can see up there on the Student Learning Center, it still has RU. They've been slacking in changing their signage there.
Well, when did they change the name? A few months ago? Like, it's fairly recent, right?
Yeah, it was very recently that they started changing the banners around campus and some of the signage on buildings.
And the sports team is now the Bold?
The Bold, yes.
What is that?
I don't know what that is. Like, why not the Tigers or something, you know?
The
like,
Eagles.
Like, get some alliteration. The TMU, something with a T, right?
The TMU Tyrannosaurus. Anything.
Yeah, that would be better than the Bold.
The Titmouse.
So now we're skirting the northern boundary of the campus here along Gerrard St East.
It's a neat view of where...
And there's the giant hole where Concord Sky will go.
I think it's planned at 85 stories, and they're trying to bump it up to 95.
Wow. Because right now it's 299 meters. Just 1 meter shy of super tall status. So now we're going to head south along Nelson Mandela Way. Is that what this is called?
I believe so.
And this will take us into the heart of the campus.
Toronto Metropolitan University on that.
Yep.
Made of grit. Really? Yeah, dude. For sure.
So this campus is a lot newer than the U of T campus. Most of the buildings are more modernist. There are a few older buildings dating from maybe the 1930s or 40s that weren't even originally part of the university, but they've just been incorporated into the campus.
I think the campus opened in 48.
Yeah, 1948 as, what was it now, Ryerson Technological Institute of Technology? Or
Something to that effect.
Yeah.
And then it became Polytechnical University, I think in 66.
Right.
And that's what we knew it as
Yeah.
growing up.
And then it got full-fledged university status, where it just became Ryerson University.
Along with every other school in the province.
Yeah.
It is hard to argue with the location, though.
Yeah, right in the heart of downtown. I think the campus is bounded by Yonge Street on the west, and Dundas Street on the south, Gerrard Street on the north, and would you say Jarvis on the east?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Don't come back and told us I tried to kill you. You're not worth my bullets. I give you a stroke.
I don't think he's a student. I don't think he's a student. So now we're coming down to Gould Street, which is a pedestrianized portion of the street. It's not fully pedestrianized, but the bulk of it is through campus. As is the bulk of Victoria Street through campus is also pedestrianized, which is good to see.
Well, this is the northern end of Victoria Street right here, right?
Yep. So Victoria Street is pedestrianized down to Dundas.
There's a neat food market right around the corner.
Yeah, a very popular food market. We'll be walking over in that direction later on in the video. Just a quick look around. Just looking east along Gould Street. Welcome to orientation. You belong here. And this is the Devonian Pond, which right now is empty. In the wintertime, it becomes a skating rink, though, and it's a really nice spot.
And it lights up quite nicely around it.
Yep, the building behind it lights up with all kinds of bright colors. And it's quite busy. This campus just has a totally different vibe than the U of T campus, though. It's more like you're in the heart of downtown and the streets just have a much more urban look to them through campus.
A little less grand, a little less greenery.
Yeah. It's sort of like in Manhattan you have NYU and then you have the Ivy League school further north on Manhattan Island. What's it called again? Well, NYU is the urban downtown campus, which is what TMU is.
That's around Washington Square Park, I think.
Yeah. If you were to compare. And then U of T would be the Ivy League campus further north.
And then there's York, another big mega campus, bigger than Ryerson, but that's all the way up at the northern edge of the city.
That's true, yeah.
I think I might be walking through there tomorrow on a video.
Oh, yeah? I've never been to the York campus, strangely enough.
That's where I went. I have an idea to go up to Vaughan Metro Center and walk from there to York. I don't know why, but it's a stretch I haven't covered. I'll get to walk by 407 subway station.
And I went to a small university up in North Bay called Nipissing University, which is a liberal arts university, where I got a liberal arts degree, which looking back on, I'm like, what the heck was I thinking?
Now, not everyone we see here is a student.
No. No, there's definitely a lot of spillover on this campus between regular downtown activity and campus activity.
Well, there's a Toronto Public Health unit right on this corner.
That's true. This is a safe injection site here at this public health unit location. And there's the famous Yonge and Dundas Square. And I believe the Cineplex here at 10 Dundas East also doubles as classrooms in some of the cinemas that aren't being used at certain times of day.
Well, they built it originally as an AMC, which had much smaller cinemas than Cineplex tended to have, and they used a lot of them as lecture halls.
Right.
And I think they've maintained that.
Yeah, I would think so.
That's the building where Little Canada is.
Yeah. That's a really cool attraction. So there's a look down Victoria Street, where it continues on as a regular city street.
If it weren't for the streetcar tracks on Victoria Street, I would say it's a dead ringer for New York City.
Yeah. Yep. The only thing it's lacking is like interesting restaurants and retail. There's some of it, but very little.
But it's got that feeling, like if you just had like a sewer with smoke coming out of it at night.
I've thought the same thing, you know. Especially the more southerly end of Victoria Street.
Well, here's a place I went to recently, and unfortunately, along with your precious burrito boys around the corner, it is in jeopardy of not being here very long.
Yep.
Are you heartbroken over that?
A little bit. Hopefully they relocate to one of the retail spaces on the bottom of some of these new condo buildings right in the same neighborhood. That would be very convenient for me.
Well, I don't think the development is planned or is approved, but this whole block is slated to go.
Yeah, look at this is closed down now too.
Like a tuck shop kind of place.
And the restaurant that was here is gone. So one by one things are closing. I guess this will have to relocate. Paramusic, this has been here as long as I can remember. And the Burrito Boys. So here's Bond Street, so we can walk back up into the campus here. Back up to Gould. And this just looks like a old downtown street, but most of the buildings here are utilized as university buildings with classrooms and not the prettiest buildings here, but
Would you rather have had gone here or Nipissing? Because Nipissing's pretty much the middle of nowhere.
it's kind of on the outskirts of North Bay. It's not really in town.
So you don't even have the benefit of whatever town they have.
No. It's like a little world unto itself, pretty much. All the residences are all clustered around the campus, and then you have to go down a big hill to get to the actual neighborhoods of North Bay.
Looks like that dates back to 1898. It's a really cool looking church.
Yeah. And across the street, I think, is a former synagogue that is now an Orthodox church, a Greek Orthodox church. Here's the Image Arts building. This is the one that lights up with all the awesome colors that faces towards Devonian Pond on the other side. And they have to change the signage up there. Heidelberg Center.
They should have just found another name or word that starts with R.
That would have saved them a lot of money, that's for sure.
Just like they should just rename Dundas after another Dundas.
Exactly. But I think those solutions are far too simple. And there's the campus clock tower. That does chime. And it plays... It's not very grand looking, no. The clock is quite puny, but it does chime and play music at times.
And wasn't there a statue of Egerton Ryerson right along here that got taken down a few years back?
Yeah, there was. It got ripped down more or less.
It's on the scrap heap next to the Alexander Wood statue.
I heard that part of it ended up in Lake Ontario. The head, at least, ended up in Lake Ontario. Or the body, one or the other. So now this part of Gould Street is not pedestrianized. I don't know why they don't just pedestrianize it all the way through.
Probably trucks and deliveries.
I suppose.
Hey, how are you? Good, good.
Do you want to ride?
So this is Church, but Ryerson extends further to the east of Church.
Yeah, it extends all the way to Jarvis with a few buildings. I think this is where the statue used to be. And Egerton Ryerson was an educator. That's who the school was originally named after.
There's still a couple of streets and a school named after him in the Alexandra Park neighborhood.
Yeah, I noticed that. I wonder if those will be renamed as well.
Do you have to pay to get your diploma updated to the new school if you went here?
Are you that guy
a good
that
question.
walks around?
I'm one of them. Yeah, he's the other one.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
Well, cheers. I'm a guy that walks
You're
around.
the guy that walks around.
Rory Calhoun. That's it. That seems to be their new slogan, made of grit.
You see they've changed the signage on that building, although it's not a big sign. So this is Church Street.
So where to now?
Well, I guess we'll head over to Mutual. I don't think we'll go as far as Jarvis because, honestly, Jarvis Street doesn't have much of a presence in terms of university buildings.
Right there, Shannon. Literally writing that down.
And there's the old former Sears merchandise warehouse. Now it's expensive lofts. And there's a Metro grocery store at the base of it that is the main campus grocery store, but it's also the closest grocery store to my apartment, so this is where I come most of the time.
There's also a inverted pyramid building just on the other side that turns a lot of heads on Jarvis Street. I've seen you make videos going to this store.
Yeah. I come here probably more often than the Loblaws at Maple Leaf Gardens. And it's kind of funny, during your walk through the U of T campus, there was a brutalist monstrosity that we commented on, and now there's also a brutalist monstrosity here for us to comment on. Right around the corner.
they would both land in my top 10 downtown ugly buildings list.
But is there a Trinity College equivalent on the Ryerson campus? Ryerson TMU campus? I don't think so.
No.
No.
But as ugly as it is, would I trade it for anything? No. Same with Robarts Library.
Right.
It offends me, yet I want it to stay.
See, I'm kind of indifferent to this building. I don't have many thoughts or feelings towards it whatsoever. Whereas Robarts, even though I recognize it's a bit of a monstrosity, I still kind of respect it and enjoy it. I can't say the same for this. It's just there. And that's a government building now, right? It used to be
I believe so, yes. I thought it was like a Sears office.
It was a Sears head
they
office.
used a warehouse here.
Yeah. So we're going to head north on Mutual. Have some more university buildings here on the west side, and across the street it's a mix of just public housing and also some student housing.
I think they've got more on Jarvis. Like they took over the old Primrose Hotel and converted that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's at Carlton.
And that's way up at Carlton. That's kind of like away from the main campus. And the old Maple Leaf Gardens also has a athletic facility that is part of the school as well.
Home of the TMU Bold.
Yep.
What do you draw their mascot to look like?
I don't know. What does a bolt look like? Is it like a font or something?
It's just a bee. That's very.
It's just a bee with the bold font, I guess. What else could it be?
Have you ever been to that Pita Land on the corner up here?
I've been there one time, like 10 years ago, I would say. I had a falafel. It was all right. That's going to be demolished soon for a new development.
That whole block.
Everything except the Hooker Harveys. That's the only thing that's going to be spared.
Oh, it's a heritage site.
Yeah. So now we're back at Gerrard. So we'll just head west again, but then there's a pathway that we can take.
That was so funny.
There's where a Starbucks used to be.
I remember that. Now it's a different coffee place, isn't it? Alright, so now we can walk south through this pathway. It'll take us down to a courtyard. Eric Palin Hall. I'm not too sure of all the ins and outs of these buildings and what their uses are.
I'd love to help you out on that, but neither am I.
Yeah. I find the U of T campus is a little more helpful with their signage, letting you know what's going on in various buildings.
They'll say chemistry.
Exactly. This doesn't give you any clue, really. And U of T is probably the most highly rated university in Canada, whereas TMU is way down the list as far as I know. It's not really considered one of the premier universities, but it is good for what it does, and it does offer lots of awesome programs that draw people in. I think it's known for things like, for being the best at certain things like fashion. For some reason, I hear the fashion program here is sought after.
I think communications.
Yeah.
Well, it had that polytechnical moniker attached to it. I can't say I'm a fan of these buildings.
I think this is student housing, right? There was a huge residential tower proposed for the corner of Dundas and Jarvis that was going to be over 40 floors, because the university is in desperate need of student housing, and it was all approved, but then the university canceled it, and a lot of people are questioning why they would do that. And now we're back out onto Church Street. So we're going to head north again.
Back
There's
up
the,
to Gerrard.
yeah, there's the pedestrian bridge. That used to say Ryerson right across it, but I guess they have to update it now. And what I was getting at earlier about the university's rankings, it was often affectionately referred to as Rye High.
Yep.
Remember that? Now they're going to have to come up with a new nickname. I don't think the new nickname will be nearly as good as the old one.
What rhymes with TMU?
I know, right?
And is also politically correct.
Right. That's an impossible task right there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Church in Carleton is closed off.
They're redoing the streetcar tracks there, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Here's the architecture building. At least we know what's going on in that one.
Well, U of T's architecture building is the old Daniels building in that little crescent on Spadina.
Mm-hmm. That's a spectacular building. This one can't really say the same.
Not so much.
Not so much, yeah. Basically a utilitarian box.
I can't say the campus gives me those academic vibes.
No, not at all. I think once we come into the main quad, that's the only part of the campus that does kind of conjure up a bit of a academic vibe. We'll be walking through there shortly. And here's a map of the campus.
So pretty much, I would say Mutual Street is more of the eastern boundary.
Yeah. So it covers a good chunk of the east side of downtown.
And this video is brought to you by Lime Bubbly. I've reached my breaking point.
Refreshing.
I always make a point of putting these in the freezer like 45 minutes to an hour before I go at recording.
Yeah.
And then it's still nice and cold for after my video.
Good thinking.
Yeah. This is pretty much all I drink now.
I think I've seen you drinking those in live streams, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's an interesting colored Mercedes with a parking ticket.
It is interesting colored. Oh, look, it has some damage there. Yep. Doesn't surprise me. I find drivers of Mercedes, Audis, and BMWs tend to skirt the rules of the road quite often.
I know it's anecdotal, but I kind of agree with you.
Yeah. And I think that's used mostly as a residence during the school year, right? And then in the summer months, the rooms are rented out to just the general public. Center for Urban Innovation across the street. This building recently got a do-over.
Well, that's the original Ontario College of Pharmacy.
Right, 1871. And they added a new modern addition there. But this will take us into the main quad of the campus. So this is by far the nicest part of the whole campus once we go inside here. And there is a nice old historic building that is sort of preserved and displayed, at least the facade anyway.
What's the current runtime?
We are at 31 minutes. This is a decently long enough video, I would say.
I try to shoot for at least 30 minutes.
Yeah, me too. I'll even just walk unnecessarily for an extra 5 minutes sometimes after the main point of the video is already passed.
I'm just padding my runtime here, folks.
Yep. But check out the views from in the quad here.
Helps picture Ken in the quad.
And here's Johnny in the quad.
I'll be posting those to Instagram.
Looks like they haven't updated their little tent here.
How about this
Or the
building?
main library. I think that's the campus library.
I almost think they should leave some remnants of the old name just to, as like a history lesson at least.
Right.
Like, it happened.
Yeah.
Why look the other way? It's a learning opportunity, right?
Yeah. And dare I say that for the time that he lived, Egerton Ryerson, for a 19th century man, an early 19th century
You're walking
man,
on eggshells here. Be careful.
was considered very progressive for his times. Let's just say that. Of course, progressive by 19th century standards is not progressive by 21st century standards, but there has to be some appreciation of that, right?
Well, that is the world we live in. We hold people to today's standards even though they didn't live today.
Right.
I don't know the answer.
Nope.
Numbers. First of all, you need to be able to back it up with actual form.
And here's that old facade.
Looks like an ancient ruin.
It does. Let's see what it says on the plaque here. It's the Toronto Normal and Model School from 1851 to 1962. So this building, or what was this building, obviously predates the campus by a good 100 years before Ryerson was even established.
This is much what like York University felt like to me. Just the gray concrete and glass.
And it's really nice and refreshingly cool right inside here. Air conditioning is working quite well. And here's the other side of the clock tower. So that takes you into the Recreation and Athletic Center.
I was accepted here, and I kind of regret not going.
Really?
Yeah.
You might have had a whole different experience going to a downtown campus.
Yeah, versus I commuted, and I lived in Mississauga, and I bought a Mercury Topaz just to take me from home to school. I wouldn't have needed that.
Right.
If I went there.
That's true.
The subway didn't go up to York back then. You had to go to what was then Downsview.
Right.
And
I
take a
remember.
bus.
I remember.
It was quite the ordeal. I found myself not going to class every day. As surprising as that may seem.
Probably lots of people also didn't go to class because of that. So now we're back on Gould. So this will take us over to Yonge Street.
Should have failed your course. Should have failed yours. But I didn't.
Probably like second, like next year.
So I'm guessing this orientation stuff will be up for the week probably.
Do we need anything?
Yeah. I think it's already been up for like a couple of weeks.
Well, U of T certainly has a lot more food trucks and street food and that sort of thing. But
Oh, for sure.
they also have more options here outside of that.
Yeah, this little food market over here has almost everything.
There was a period where that was just like an outdoor bar. And I remember going there on like a Friday night, sitting on a couch right at like Gould and Yonge Street. It was a pretty
Oh, wow.
bizarre experience. Here is O'Keefe Lane. That's an interesting walk if you want to.
Although part of it is now that construction site for Concord Sky. So there's the food market. And O'Keefe Lane. That'll take you back up to Gerrard. And this is the Student Learning Center. This is probably one of the nicest modern buildings on campus. And these steps have become a popular spot to hang out. And there's some good views. So you want to just head up onto the steps and I'll start to wrap up the video.
I quite like it. I'm not a fan of losing a lot of our older retail, especially what we lost to make room for this place, but I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
The way it opens up, it creates a mini pseudo public square.
Yep.
And then we have a
Well, Mr. Strides, we did it.
We did. I've never actually been up these steps before.
That was a cool view.
It is.
Looking south towards Dundas Square, or Yonge and Dundas. So that wraps up our walk around Toronto Metropolitan University with Mr. Johnny Strides.
Well, thanks for having me.
Well, you're very welcome. It was a pleasure. And I'll be sure to put a link to your video of our walk through the University of Toronto in the description of this video.
And
So-
I'm sure you'll be back to U of T at some point, and I'll probably come back here.
Probably once the fall kicks in, I'll do a walk through the U of T campus again. So I hope you all enjoyed. Leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on Toronto Metropolitan University. And And be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal as well as via my merch store. And you can also support the channel via the new Super Thanks button right down below. And you can also find me on Instagram under K Continuum. And you can find Mr. Strides on Instagram under Johnny Strides.
That is me.
So be sure to keep checking back because, as always,
I will be back. Is that
I think that's Arnold Schwarzenegger's line.
well, he says I'll be back.
We will be back, and we will be continuing as well. All right, thanks, everyone.